Good morning. How's everybody doing? How you guys been? This is open forum number 2. I've kind of been sitting around just kind of waiting to see if I get some comments. People are confused or wanted to argue about anything I'd said. Lucky for me, I'm a great teacher. Nobody has anything to say at all. So I guess I can continue on with what I'm doing and not have to wait for people to catch up. It's not like I'm still waiting for at least one person in the world to watch all the videos. It's not like that's a truth. So, now that we've established that, let's talk about some talking points. First one I want to talk about, and probably the only thing we're going to talk about today, is technology. I love technology. I like to invent things. You know, it's that proof of concept that's the curve, but theoretical science, theoretical physics, theoretical math, I love it. I love it because there's still room for creation in these pursuits. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about some science that I think is awesome. Did you know that if you take water to negative 212 degrees, it becomes magnetic? Did you know that? Boy, I wonder if I'm going to get shot over this video. But you guys do know that water becomes magnetic at 212 negative degrees, right? How cold's outer space? So is it feasible that you could turn water into a solid magnetic structure by having it cold enough? Is that what I'm saying with science? Is that established numbers and parameters that have already been done? Or is it still something stuck in a laboratory that people won't talk about? Why do I bring this up? Well, the thing is I got this theory, and I haven't been able to prove it yet, obviously. But an isotope, right? A radioactive isotope. We got them floating in our fucking ocean right now. If you don't understand why that's a problem, well, you're dumb. I don't even care that in some way, shape, or form I insulted you. If you think there's a bigger problem than the ocean currently in the world, you have been lied to, and you are right on track to do whatever the fuck you're told. But the ocean produces 85% of all the oxygen in the world. So if it goes, we all go. It doesn't matter. It's just like when governments push their people to the limits. Listen, you do realize that if the people aren't there to pay the taxes, your government falls apart, right? Like, you can shut the fuck up with all your shit and your threats and your laws and your bullshit. You do realize, right, that if you fuck the populace up enough, they're not going to pay your taxes. And if they don't pay taxes, you can't lie and say why you have money and why you're doing the things you're doing. And the entire United States collapses. You get that, right? So if the ocean collapses, there's nobody to tax and control. So that's why I think that this idea is probably important enough all the way up to top government officials. If our oxygen supply is gone, then those that create oxygen are in control of everybody, and we will shoot you if you try. That's how I look at it. But fixing it. Let's talk about fixing it. I might be a revolutionary, but the only time that violence is acceptable in my mind is when we haven't managed to get anything else to work. And there's plenty of things that could work. And this is the best one that I come up with so far. So hear me out, even though I'm rambling. These are my talking points. If water becomes magnetic at 212 degrees negative, then is it possible to trap isotopes of radiation within that water lattice structure, therefore making the water magnetic towards radioactive isotopes, collecting it like a freezer, just freezes to the column? And yeah, I have a design for the machine. I have a few designs for the machine, but I don't have a degree. So I'm sure that someone could come up with a more efficient, cost efficient way to do this, but I have a design for it. If anybody was interested, I figured out how to make this thing. I'm sure somebody with engineering skills and a degree would be able to do better than me because they understand all the technology that's available to create with. It's where I find myself limited in invention, is I just don't know all the basic mechanics to build off of. I can see the end result. I understand why it works. Designs just take money. So if anybody wants to fix the ocean, you should hit me up. And I bet the seed of what I have, the blueprints I have, can be improved upon so your company can make fuckloads of money. I want to cut. A small cut, but I want to cut. So now let's talk about something else that's science. Theoretical science is my favorite. I said this. And right now we've got drones and orbs operating under a negative heat signature. The only reason that we know that they're there is because they show up as colder than the environment around them. No heat signature. Do you know it has no heat signature at 212 degrees negative, but is magnetic? Water. Now, theoretically, I could see how this could be accomplished. Theorists suggest that everything exists at a vibration. Not that the solid creates the vibration, but the vibration creates the solid. That's what they're working on at CERN and everywhere else right now. If you don't understand that, but if magnetism can be accomplished with water by simply lowering the temperature, here we go. I'm going to get shot. But here's where my mind went with it. If magnetism can exist at a cold state with water, and we live on a planet that's water, then I can see how that correlates. How would you create the vibration of magnetism to an extent to counteract the magnetism of this world? Never forget, there's a giant force called gravity on our planet. It's the biggest undefinable force that we have. And it exists as a vibration. The world's vibrating. This is true. On a molecular level, subatomic level. So technically, if one could recreate the vibration, oh, this makes me sick. If one could recreate the vibration that was the counterbalance to reach zero weight against our gravity, then the drones would fly perfectly. And if instead of focusing on heat and propulsion, you relied on the vibration of the world, and your only goal was to create the opposite reaction, right? Equal and opposite reaction, so you no longer were bound by gravity. And you wouldn't have to do it to where like you negated all the gravity in the world. You'd only have to negate a controlled space based on the vibration of what that thing is and the angle and the frequency that it's bouncing off the earth like Wi-Fi. In fact, you could say with tuning forks and some frozen water, you could probably recreate that drone technology without too much problems. Reverse engineering it, I think they're going to find tuning forks, a different alloy, of course, because what type of metal it is what the note is. You go, how'd you figure this? Well, they did AI a few years ago, and none of you guys seem to pay attention to technology. But they used AI and sound to predict every combination of sound that could ever exist based on our current understanding of sound. Did you know they did that? One of those sounds makes you fucking fly. One of those sounds negates fucking gravity. One of those sounds is the sound that electricity manifests around. See, we're about to get to the age, and I don't care if you believe me now, because once it's there, you're going to say that I had nothing to do with it, and it's irrelevant. But the end result is we're going to find, but by creating the vibrational sound of something, it will be created. That's what's coming. Whether or not you believe me or you think I'm crazy, that's okay. But that's what's coming. That's what science says. That's what theoretical physics is. The idea, that's what quantum physics is. The quantum everything exists in a vibration, and the vibration connects molecules. And the molecules already exist. And because you can create any molecule based on the vibration around it, you can create any grouping of molecules that you therefore desire and have it be stable in this environment. Cold fusion flight is nothing more than creating the vibration of cold fusion. It's nothing more than creating the vibration of electricity. It's nothing more than creating the vibration of food or heat or movement. All of these things exist in a fucking quantifiable vibrational state before they exist as a 3D object that we can interact with. Catch light. Can you catch light? You can with a mirror. You can with a mirror. And if you can catch light with a mirror, can you catch darkness with a mirror? If you look into a mirror in the dark, is there darkness in there? There is. Why does this matter? Because if everything we perceive is on a color spectrum, if everything we perceive is on a color spectrum, and the level of the color that we see is based on the lightness or the darkness around it, you're like, why are you rambling? Because if these things are true and our perception is what allows us to grasp it, our perception exists on a vibration. Our mind works on a vibration. Our memory works on a vibration that we create. So physics is already leaning towards we're creating the reality around us by experiencing it and observing it. At what point do we realize that we can observe any molecule we want? That we can go in any direction we want? And this idea of the drones, it works everywhere. Every planet has gravity. Everything is in movement. Everything's in rotation. Gravity is magnetism. You go, no, that's not the same thing. I hear you, but you're still playing with magnetism and fucking magnets on the world, and the world is a fucking magnet. And when you take magnetism out of gravity and you use gravity as the base starting point and you say fuck magnetism, guess what? You start figuring out that gravity itself is a vibration and there's a counterbalance to it to make gravity not work. But you thought I was stupid because of my haircut, huh? See, the thing is science itself, all it's doing is proving God. All it's doing is proving the matrix. All it's doing is proving every theory that everybody has. They're all right. Because molecules exist as a vibration that becomes reality based on our perception. And so when you realize that everything that I've just said is simply stringing together things that already exist, technologies that already exist, theories that already exist, and proof of concepts that already exist, why is it that it takes someone like me who's just a box of rocks to see that all the rocks go in the same box? Why is it? How is it that we have all of these things going on independently in the world? And the second you take 3 or 4 technologies or 3 or 4 concepts or 3 or 4 math equations that aren't supposed to go together, how come they do? How come instead of all this shit being science fiction fantasy, I can literally go and show you the reports and show you the studies and show you the scientific procedures and show you the math behind all these individual things? Why am I living in a science fiction fantasy fucking novel right now? Why am I living in fucking Star Trek right now? Why can't I sit down as an adult, an educated adult, and dismiss all of this shit as shit? See how frustrated I am? I don't. Listen, I can deal with new ideas and new concepts. But when the new ideas and new concepts are simply a correlation between 5 or 6 things that already existed, and it seems like my mind's the one that's putting them together, from a civilian point of view, you do understand that I don't feel like the smartest man in the world. And although I may invent, I'm not the only inventor, and there's shit tons of human beings, and like most of them are smart enough to know that if they have a good idea, they should go somewhere where they can get paid for it. Every good idea in the last 50 years has died at the hands of a corporation. With this technology, right? There's my throw at it. There's my theory on why it's working. There's my theory on why it works. There's why I think it's already existed. It's why I think we're following technology we already know. This isn't science fiction anymore. This isn't theoretical physics anymore. CERN proved that. And the thing is a lot of these technologies and a lot of this science, they still say it's theoretical with proofs of concepts in labs. But because there's an NDA, the general public never gets to know about it, ever. I just seen a thing where they're about to do free electricity, like Wi-Fi, for everybody. Fuck you guys. Tesla did it already. This technology of the vibration and creating the vibration that makes electricity happen, you know how it's done naturally? Atmospheric pressure changes. If you need a way to understand my research and where I'm going with things, atmospheric pressure changes. Everything else in the world doesn't fucking come even close. Hurricane beats a nuclear bomb any day of the fucking week. Fuck you. Hurricane destroys more than a nuclear bomb on any given day. Controlled chaos. So follow it. Go look into it. See what you think. Come argue with me. Tell me how stupid I am. Show me your science and your math. It shows me that none of this can go together. I'd really appreciate it. I'd like to be proven wrong. I like being wrong. It helps me better understand the world around me when I'm not computing something. When I get it, I get it. But then that one's solved and on to the next. But there's all these things right now that I'm looking at and I'm researching and I'm trying to figure out. And I can't see no lies in them. I can't see any logic flaws. I can't find the common denominators that would show me that this is wrong. That's why I make some videos. That's why I made this one about science, and I think I'll probably get shot. But we had water cars and electric cars before we had gasoline cars. You better look that up. It's $78 a barrel for fucking oil. That company will fucking kill anyone to keep that price going. No matter what. So, here's to not getting shot and making it through another day. Here's another day of just throwing education out there and seeing what you think about it. Here's to another day of screaming into the darkness and telling it that it ain't shit. Thanks for throwing this journey on with me.